dressed in white, and the Purple Eagles fittingly in purple. And the tip controlled by Siena's Alex Franklin.
And Sean McDonough, the purple-clad Niagara team. Go! Minute.
Ronald Moore to Ryan Rossiter, and right inside for the easy two for Alex Franklin. A great start for Siena. They got off quickly yesterday against Fairfield, led by 28 points on their way to a 15-point win in a game that was never close against the Stags.
Ben trying to get to the rim. They're very good with the bounce, Sean.
Well, Ben's turnover leads to a push the other way by the speedy Ronald Moore, and then Edwin Ubelis missed the runner.
He had a kick to the corner to Rossiter.
Anthony Nelson, the Niagara point guard, a miss, and then a foul on the rebounding action against Siena. And we have a couple of stars on display tonight. Bilal Ben, a double-double, career-high 19 rebounds last night against Ryder 11 offensive.
Jumbo Hammock feels he can really fill up the sheet, an outstanding performer. They're going to make some threes. They're going to. You enjoy watching them because they just keep coming at you. They have to be careful in the open floor, though, Sean. They don't want to go up and down and get Siena going completely.
Rob Garrison's three has given Niagara a lead. We're 1 minute in. These two teams played twice in the regular season, each one on its home court. Ryan Rossiter had it blocked by Garrison. Benson Egamonye was also there for the Purple Eagles. Garrison wants another three. Take a look at tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Papa John's. For Niagara, 26 wins, one of only 10 teams in the country with that many victories. And for Siena, 25-7, only one senior, but it's Kenny Hasbrook, the Conference Player of the Year. And his ability to play tonight, questionable all day. Bill had a calf injury last night. The basket waved off by a whistle away from the ball as Moore threw in a long three that won't count. But Hasbrook was kicked in the right calf early in the second half of their win over Fairfield last night. Did not play the rest of the game. Joe Mahalik and Fran McCaffrey, two highly successful coaches, longtime friends, both Philadelphia natives, grew up together, known each other for more than 40 years. Out of bounds, last touch by Siena.
It's interesting with Siena. They went inside. We take a look at some game notes. I think Siena can do some damage under the rim. And of course, Niagara is going to move you around with the dribble, use high ball screens, kick, and find some three-point shooters. Nice slip.
And the dunk by Benson Egamonye, the only senior starter for Niagara. He's a Nigerian. And Ryan Rossiter fouled at the other end. If you don't pay attention, Siena will be at an offensive basket very quickly.
And Rossiter was free because Egamonye scored. They didn't cover for him. Late trailing the play. This is a very heady team. Experienced. They've been through the mill. How about a trip to Italy to find yourself? Maybe we ought to try that.
Siena had a summer trip in August, 13 days in Italy, and Ryan Rossiter really blossomed on that trip. Fran McCaffrey told us in their first of 5 exhibition games over there, Rossiter scored 23 points and 15 rebounds.
How about that out of the gate? He's very heady around the rims, got good footsteps, can make shots, and they say the funniest guy on the team.
Also their best free throw shooter. He made 1 out of 2. It's a 2-point lead for Niagara. Just more than 2 minutes in. Bilal Ben way off. And here comes Moore with the speedy push the other way.
Nice look, though, huh? Moore finds people. You don't want to jack them up and get this Siena team running. You got to make them and get balance if you're Niagara. Some mismatches. They do a lot of switching, Niagara. Exchange bodies 1 through 4.
Ubelis held the ball a long time, then his pass was deflected by Ben. Ben is second in the conference in steals. That man is number 1 in steals and three-pointers. Tyrone Lewis with his 93rd three of the year.
And he can guard as well. Sets you up for steals. A great pilferer.
Edwin Ubelis, their leading scorer, a 10th of a point per game more than Hasbrook. Ubelis at 14 points per game plus.
Yeah, you can see how heady he was away from the double baseline. Terrific read.
Anthony Nelson, sophomore point guard out of Plainfield, New Jersey.
Little double screen. And a pretty good reaction. Some speed out there.
Down to 5 on the shot clock, and a neck ball, Bill Raftery's favorite development.
I was the connoisseur of neck balls for a couple of years. That's what got me into announcing. Egamonye with a nice little turnaround jumper, everything but, and the jump ball stays there. Possession error, I should say. Showing my age.
And then it's a break for Niagara as they get a full shot clock as well. Bilal Ben, nicely done. The transfer from Villanova, sat out last year. His first year playing in Niagara, has had a tremendous year. Hasbrook on the bad leg, along with a three-point shot.
But there's always a place when you see Ben performing like this. Garrison with the quick jack. They got to get transfer.
He said it, Bill. Both teams like to go up and down, but Joe Mahalik said, you wonder if we go up and down, if we're really helping Siena as much as that's the way we play. And he said, because that's the way we play, it's the way we're going to play, whether we're helping Siena or not.
We're going with what we did all year. You know, the big thing, though, is late in the second half with all the minutes the other night. You were here watching that great game. That may show itself. They don't have a deep bench.
No, they do not. Niagara, they played 9 during the regular season. It has shortened a little bit here in the conference tournament. But last night, Egamonye played 36 minutes, and the other 4 starters all played at least 44 minutes in the double overtime game. Moore was the only Siena player yesterday who played more than 30 minutes, so it should be a much more rested Saints team.
A nice little trap.
Tyrone Lewis banks it in, reminiscent of his heroics last night.
That is his shot. A bang-bang kiss from deep.
It wasn't a shot before last night, but it might become his shot.
Why not? That's what it's there for, Red Auerbach used to say. Use it.
Great start for Niagara, leading 13-5. They scored 100 points 11 days ago against the Siena team in their 15-point win over the Saints at the Gallagher Center in Niagara Falls.
You can't be settling if you're Siena. I think they could use power.
Nelson's 3 well short. And here comes Ronald Moore, the junior from Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, near Philadelphia. Rossiter had it poked away by Camus Gordon, who just came into the ball game off the bench for Niagara.
How about this, Sean? You witnessed the other one. Not as big, but just as effective.
All right, Ryan, thank you. Terrific start for Niagara. They've already made 3 three-point field goals and lead 13-5 over Siena. Tyrone Lewis, the hero last night, looked like Niagara's dreams of the big dance, Bill, were about to end as they were playing Ryder in the semifinals. They were down by 3, under 5 seconds to go, and Lewis hit one of those shots that we'll see over and over again in the postseason, a 35-foot desperation bank shot, and Ryder was trying to foul them. They just whiffed on the foul. The game went into overtime, and in double overtime, Niagara wound up winning.
Weren't there 2 guys trying to foul too, if I'm not mistaken? The bubble almost burst, but unfortunately, this is a chance for them to step forward. They've resuscitated somewhat. They have a great start. Can they sustain it?
Of course, the big question tonight for Siena, the health of Kenny Hasbrook. Suffered that calf injury when he was kicked in the right calf early in the second half yesterday against Fairfield. Did not shoot around at all today. Siena's ball with 20 seconds now to shoot. And so far, not much out of Hasbrook. 0 for 2 from the floor.
Drifting on the perimeter a little bit. Now, you won't see the same kind of attack mode. A tough kid, too. There you go. Get to the rim a little bit.
Ubilis' shot bounced off. Siena 2 out of 9 from the floor. Sharp contrast to yesterday. How about the start yesterday against Fairfield? Ronald Moore, the point guard, assisted on 9 of the first 10 buckets, and he had the other one as they built that 28-point lead very briskly. 7-0 run now for Niagara after the Garrison bucket.
Not a bad start in a game or life, huh? Ubilis, well, those guys can beat you with the dribble. Tough matchup size-wise. I think we've got to take advantage. Look at that. That's his game there. He looked pretty healthy there, Sean.
Hasbrook said today that unless he could not walk at all, he was going to play. He started every game of his career. He's a senior from Capitol Heights, Maryland. This is his 127th straight start, so he didn't want to miss for the first time starting in the last home game of his career with a chance to earn a second straight trip to the NCAA tournament.
Really a toughness about him, I think. He handles it. Hit a floater. Hit a freeze three. And a powerful looking body as well. And Fran's concern was all of this switching. Do we recognize and take advantage of it? And thus far, they've had some problems.
Fran McCaffrey was the MAAC Coach of the Year. He said, that's because I had the MAAC Player of the Year.
That helps.
Usually you're a pretty good coach when you have the best player.
Now, they went out and played everybody. Moore does see things, though.
Alex Franklin. Excellent defense by Niagara here to start the game. Franklin's banker too strong and rebounded by Vincent Egamonye.
You can see how many people Siena has that can break you down.
Egamonye.
I don't think you mind him taking that one, do you? Pretty look.
Moore off to Ubilis, and his layup attempt hit the bottom of the rim.
Siena appear anxious to you.
A little bit.
Aren't they like they're in overdrive, a nice little dish at the end here, unable to finish, but like Amonier hustling back, offering it at that end after suffering on the other.
And in some ways, Bill, Fran McCaffrey was talking about how Siena's been a little bit anxious all year. Moore missed a three. They had the success last year, beat Vanderbilt in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Garrison blocked by Franklin. And the officials are going to confer. They wonder if Egamonye tipped it on the way out. And he did not.
Wow. I thought he got a piece. But hey, finish your thought. They play Vandy, right?
Yeah, so France said they came into this year with unbelievably high expectations. They had a tough early schedule. They didn't fare well losing the 3 games down in the Old Spice Classic. I think Egamonye missed that.
Yeah, they have. And then, of course, Villanova.
Yeah, and all season long, Randy talked about how they've been dealing with the weight of expectations, and even when they turned the season around in conference, there's still some feeling here. 25 wins is a little bit of a disappointment, as silly as that sounds.
You think they're spoiled? Boy, they're catching up to the rest of the country, huh? A shot at Joe Mahalik. 2 Philly guys, Big 5 background. Penn for McCaffrey and LaSalle for Joe.
Franklin nicely done inside. Junior from Reading, Pennsylvania. Averages 13.5 per game and 7.5 rebounds. 4 points for Alex Franklin, who tends to come up big in the big ball games for the Saints.
Nice pass on this little diagonal screen.
Ben missed it. Demetrius Williamson and off the bench, a terrific 6th man, kept it alive, and then Ben lost it again, and now a collision and a blocking foul called.
Well, Rob's got to be careful. That could be a technical. Well, he jumped up and expressed his ire. I thought he jumped in late. That's me. Great feat.
Tuesday night on ESPN, Championship Week continues with 2 more conference championship games. At 7 Eastern, the Big East Women's Champion, the #1 team in the country, Connecticut, undefeated against either Pittsburgh or Louisville. And at 9 Eastern, the Horizon Championship, the men's version, Cleveland State and Butler. All part of Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. In the Big East women's game, Louisville's up by 3 over Pitt early in the second half. Hasbrook a miss. Lewis, the MAAC Defensive Player of the Year, leader in steals and threes, and he stole it again, and then a foul on Moore.
He does have some quick hands. Slow it down, guys, just a tad. Get some good ones.
First foul on Ronald Moore. Timeout in Albany. Plenty of Purple Eagle fans have made the 4.5-hour trip from Niagara Falls down here to Albany, the state capital, to watch the MAAC championship game. Purple Eagles almost were heading home last night, but Tyrone Lewis kept Niagara's big dance dreams alive. A desperation 35-footer in the final seconds of regulation brought a big smile to Joe Mahalik's face. It forced overtime, and the Purple Eagles went on to beat a terrific Rider team in double overtime. Devastating for Ryan Thompson and the Bronx. 4-point win for Niagara as they advance to tonight's championship game. And if these are the two best teams in the league, and they did finish 1-2, Siena and Niagara, Ryder a very close third. Tommy Dempsey, a terrific coach. That was a crushing loss.
Devastated. And I got a chance getting ready to see Ryan play. This kid is very talented. His brother's more of an up front, even though he could face up, could do an awful lot of things. It's just an unbelievable shot, though. Woo! Devastated. How about the smile? I got a smile like that when I graduated, I think. Joe was so, and rightfully so, he stole one.
And Joe felt they had deserved a break like that. And, of course, Ryder was trying to foul. It's the age-old debate. Do you foul when you're ahead by 3? They wanted to foul, and Harris Mansell just missed as he tried to foul Lewis right after the inbounding pass. There's Demetrius Williamson with an air ball. It's controlled by Anthony Nelson. And now Lewis.
Dead on, he's not that good. Well,
and I think the most astounding thing about that banker, Bill, he was 2 for 18 before he made that shot last night. He was having a horrible night, and even that wasn't a particularly good shot. He didn't intend to bank it in. Alex Franklin for Siena, and they're back within 4.
How quick is Moore, by the way, Sean? Unbelievable speed, and then the find at the end.
Lewis. Say this for Tyrone, he's not bashful. Even when he's not shooting the 3 well. He averages over 8 3-point attempts per night. Finally, it's Ryan Rossiter. And now the speedy Moore. All the way to the bucket.
Wow. Woo. He's got afterburners. I think they might have a delay of the game for touching the ball. Let's see. Unless there was some woofing at the end of it. Sean, it's tough to compare speeds. You see Ty Lawson, for example, with Carolina. Can he be any quicker than this kid?
If there are players quicker in the country, they're not much quicker than Ronald Moore, and there are very few of them. John Hughes and Paul Thea conferring. Now they're going to go over and speak to Fran McCaffrey. He looks fast even in slow motion.
Yeah, he does, and everybody's sprinting to get back. They must have had a woof after that goal. That's my guess.
There's been no announcement yet. Tyrone Lewis misses the first of apparently 2 technical free throws.
Yeah.
They've charged a technical foul, we're told, of Ronald Moore. Fran McCaffrey really upset as Lewis made the second one. He was right in the face of Paul Thea.
And Fran is mad at him, too, trying to calm him down. After the score.
Oh, my goodness. They gave Moore a technical for throwing the ball. I mean, it looked like he just... My goodness.
More for throwing the ball, he should get one. Mike.
That's
come
awful.
on. Oh, why did
It's disappointing, too, and it's just a fact of life. Yesterday in the 2 semifinals games, we had some of the top officials in the country here. Mike Kitts, John Cal, Ed Corbett among those who work. But because the Big East tournament starts tomorrow, all the officials who are working the Big East tournament have to be there tonight to attend the meeting, so they aren't able to work this game.
Now, these 3 fellas are well thought of, too. I know what you mean. They may be the creme de la creme.
Those guys last night were Final 4 caliber officials.
Give it up!
Ubilis off to Clarence Jackson, the 6th man of the year in the MAAC, and he dropped the pass. And now a carry on Tyrone Lewis.
Now, Ubilis has got to give it up earlier and softer. That was a very tough pass. He didn't want to give this one up. It should have been passed right there. The guy played him head on. You've got to give it up and respond. I know he's good and talented, but give it up. Jackson could have had a little one. The one other thought, too, Moore gets the foul, Sean, on the technical. You forget that. You hope it doesn't hurt him later on in the game.
Well, right now on the official stat sheet, they have him for just 1 foul. Hasbrook underneath to Franklin, and he's fouled on the way up.
Now they found some answers getting inside. Duel in the game now. Nice contributor up that Achilles. He's had a tough year with injuries. Knee as well.
Tyrone Lewis called for his 2nd foul. There's Alex Franklin. Just a 62% free throw shooter, and boy, does he get to the line a lot. He has attempted 200 free throws this year in 32 games for Siena. They're 25-7 overall, 16-2 in the Metro Atlantic.
Well, he has 7 double-doubles this year. A nice bookend when you think of it. You combine Rossiter with him or Jubel is with him.
Here's the team chef, likes to cook, appeared on a local TV show, Carmine's Kitchen.
We didn't get a freebie at Carmine's, though, did we?
Fourth Niagara turnover as Clarence Jackson has it back and hits a 3. That's his game, his 43rd 3 of the year. Averages 8.5 points per game, and he has another steal. Chance to tie it. Ubelis, and a chance to go ahead after the foul.
So this is a set play on the fast break. Jackson trails a little nylon. And right here after a good three-quarter press, they've caused a cough up twice. Terrific reaction. Jubilees with the finish.
First foul on Nelson.
No home court advantage, by the way.
Well, that's one of the reasons why the conference, despite the great attendance here, is starting to look into other options to host the tournament, because there's feeling within the league that it's just too much of a home court advantage for Siena. They average over 7,300 fans per home date in this building, and they expected more than 10,000 tonight. They appear to have it, and they are loud. They
are the best team. I mean, after they'll win tonight, other people have to get better. Manhattan won a couple times here years ago when Siena was good. It's all about getting some players to perform in this atmosphere.
15-4 run for Siena to take a 1-point lead. Garrison's pass deflected by Ubelis. They have some players who are very long and get in those passing lanes, especially Ubelis.
And right up on Jackson. That very intelligent play. They got the offensive foul. Turn the shoulder.
Well defended by Anthony Nelson. And that's 2 fouls on Franklin. So some early foul concerns on each side. Wednesday night ESPN Championship Week continues with the second round of the Big East Championship at 7. The winner of tomorrow's game between Rutgers and Notre Dame will take on West Virginia. And then at 9, South Florida or Seton Hall against Syracuse. The Orange Hot heading into Madison Square Garden. All part of Championship Week, brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. 4 turnovers in a row now for Niagara.
Nice pass.
And Rossiter had it swatted away by Benson Egamonye, his second block.
And now the guys are going at it over there. Good piece of officiating. Rossiter making sure Jubilees. You don't need that. I know it means a lot. It's a high-level game. A lot of intensity. Right now, the half-court trap has been so effective. It's had unbelievable impact. And Rossiter, a little pump. Egamonye would have been airborne. Now watch this at the end. Little hockey chug.
It's also a minor league hockey building here. The Albany River Rats played in this building for many years. Ubelis had his pass deflected. Still wound up with Josh Gould. And now Hasbrook. Rossiter tipped it, and it was last touched by Niagara's Demetrius Williamson.
A tough shot for Hasbrook. That step-back shot when you don't have all your legs. Showing a lot of guts, though.
Niagara fans on the baseline don't like the call. They made the 4.5-hour trip down here. 2 very small schools, both with about 3,000 students.
How about this setup off the double? Woo!
Clarence Jackson, sophomore from Marlton, New Jersey. Siena's run continues. Jackson blocked Demetrius Williamson's shot. Egamonye with a no-call scores, and Rossiter got up looking for an offensive foul.
A little pratfall.
Hasbrook shoved all the way by Nelson. No basket. Foul on the drive. Now Fran McCaffrey doesn't like it, but that was a good call.
How are your legs? His are pretty good. Hasbrook looks terrific.
2 fouls now on Nelson. Coming up next, the Championship Week update. All right, thank you, Ryan. Welcome back to Albany, everybody. Niagara and Siena in a spirited start to this Metro Atlantic Championship game between two teams that split their two regular season meetings, each winning on their home floor. These are the last two MAAC champions. Siena won last year, Niagara 2 years ago. Siena trying to earn its 5th trip all time to the NCAA tournament. Niagara, lovely school right on the Niagara River. Looking across, you could probably view it to be a driver across from the campus to Canada, but some of us could probably hit a 5-iron across into Canada from their campus.
That was it. I didn't drive the ball that far, obviously, but we used to play them. That was our rival, Niagara. Al Butler was a great player when I was
you were at LaSalle, for those that don't know.
And Father Levesque is the president, a good friend of mine, Bob Dwyer. They've done some job up there. I was talking to Joe about just the physical plant itself, the growth it's made. And look at this on the inbounds. Unfortunately, not prepared defensively.
Josh Duell, seniors battled injuries all year long with the bucket. And now another turnover. Boy, Niagara just turning it over one possession after another.
Tough shot.
And Hasbrook missed it, but there's Josh Duell, the transfer from Vermont, short on the putback, and Demetrius Williamson pulled it down. Siena by 4 as we near 7 minutes left in the first half. And a reach-in foul.
A little strip from the rear. That's one thing you got to be concerned with dribble drive. What a tumultuous year he's had in a sense.
It started back in the preseason. He had an Achilles injury, kept him out a lot of their preseason workouts. Then he injured his knee against Kansas in early January. Missed 10 games, came back, and suffered a severe calf injury. The back of that leg is purple, Fran McCaffrey told us, all the way from the back of his knee to the middle of his foot.
Well, they made him cover not to confuse them with the Niagara uniform.
There's an attempt for 3 that's well short out of the corner from Austin Cooley, a freshman out of Silver Spring, Maryland, who's made only 12 threes all year long.
Nice play. How about that old-fashioned? Nobody elevated. I can play that game. A little slip and fine.
I don't think we'll be measuring Duell's vertical leap tonight at 6'7", 253, and with the bad wheels, but he showed a great basketball sense there to feed Rossiter.
It's all about feel.
Niagara just struggling to get a shot up. They continue to turn it over, but now it's Egamonye. He's been in this country for 5 years, started his collegiate career at Northeastern University, played 1 year, then transferred to Niagara. Bill, in the 5 years he's been here, he has not seen his family back in Nigeria at all in 5 years. They
said they've been able, he's talked to them, but that's got to be incredible at a young age like that. Give it up.
Garrison did, and Cooley shot way off, but Bilal Ben, as is so often the case, in the right place. And was it deflected?
He had it in his left hand, and I guess it was not, Sean, but protecting the ball. Here we go. Tommy Brennan's recruit at Vermont. How about this little find? Step back. Is that pretty? Just read it. You got the numbers on your side. That's the slip that straightens it out, and Rossiter able to complete the deal.
Well, Jules played on 2 number 13 seeds that won a tournament game. He was a freshman at Vermont when they had that memorable upset over Syracuse. Then when Tom Brennan left, he transferred her to Siena, and he was on that team that beat Vanderbilt in the first round in Tampa last year.
It's all about him. Boeheim used to call Tom Brennan Mr. Happy Coach. Remember, he was all smiles after that game. Well, he knows how to play, this kid, though. Nice rotation up front for Fran.
As much as we both like and admire Jim Boeheim a great deal, I don't think anybody's ever referred to him as Mr. Happy Coach. Egamonye the miss. Siena the other way.
Rossiter, good footsteps.
This is the development of his game. Last year just a rebounder and defender, and Fran McCaffrey says this year a legitimate low post presence offensively.
Said his dad and his brother have helped him with his post-up game.
His brother Steve plays at Davidson. Of course, they had the disappointing conference tournament. Garrison wound up with a loose ball, drove the baseline, and Niagara, despite 9 turnovers, is within 2.
Yeah, Duell just couldn't recover. Almost had it.
Rossiter's parents, they make the trips back and forth. They try to see every Davidson game and every Siena game that they can. Last year during the NCAA tournament, they were going back and forth between the NCAA tournament site.
Isn't that great? What a thrill.
In Siena.
What a thrill.
Austin Cooley wound up with the ball out of the scrum, and now 2 to tie and 3 for the lead for Niagara in a first half of momentum shifts.
Do they have enough juice come second half? That's the key. I say yes.
Well, adrenaline can do great things, especially for young people this age. With both teams playing for the third time in 3 days, Siena has cruised to its 2 wins over Canisius and Fairfield. They've trailed coming into tonight for only 8 seconds in the conference tournament. Rossiter had a chance on a follow. It wouldn't drop. Now Garrison charged. He got in the middle of the lane and he ran out of options.
Tough to get around, Duel. He is a presence, and I think on Rossiter's miss he landed on Egamonye.
And that would be a huge loss for Niagara, their big 6'10" inside player, Benson Egamonye. All right. Mr. Happy Coach.
I've seen him happy many an evening.
Yeah.
It wasn't all about winning games.
Well, they're happy here at Albany. Terrific game. Niagara down by 2 despite 10 turnovers that have led to 10 Siena points. Niagara staying in the game in part because of their work on the offensive glass. 10 offensive rebounds already. Rossiter fouled.
And what a nice play. That little high-low. Rossiter locks his guy. Unfortunately, Gordon got caught and trapped. A little experience.
Camus Gordon's foul is the 8th against Niagara. Rossiter, you mentioned, a much improved offensive player this year. And they needed that development, Bill, because of the injuries that we chronicled earlier to Duel. Duel figured to be a starter most of the year. When he was hurt for much of it, really Rossiter picked up where they would have hoped Duel would have been.
Well, you know, guys hang in there. They play against better people. And this kid, it's got to be a pretty good legacy there in that family. Knowing his brother and dad, former player as well. So if you like the game, you can get better. And it gives them a great rotation with Duel back now. They do like zone when Duel is in. Little hands up Harry. I wouldn't call him the most mobile of up front guys.
So hands up Harry played for the Happy Coach?
Yeah.
Mr. Happy Coach? Gordon. And the rebound by Owen Wignott.
I'm not sure that's the shot they want from him. Pretty look again.
Duel again. Off to Ryan Rossiter.
The point forward mentality of Duel, like Paul Pressey used to be with the Bucks at Tulsa. Really helps you complement your inside game.
That was a very contemporary reference out of your library of references. Bilal Ben held ball as he went up. It'll go back to Siena with 2.5 to go in the half, and the Saints leading by 4. Championship week, all week long, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Number 1 UConn in the Big East Women's Championship against either Pitt or Louisville. And then on the men's side, the Horizon Championship, Cleveland State. One of those memorable images of the year. The banker to beat Syracuse in the Carrier Dome at the beginning of the season. They'll take on Butler. I have to say, Butler, the best mid-major team in the country, and then maybe these two are the next two.
I would agree. Butler is very impressive. Howard and Hayward, that one can bang it inside, the other can step out.
Wignott the bucket, freshman out of Dallas, Pennsylvania, has had a terrific conference tournament. He averages only 2.5 points per game, but he had a career-high 10 in their win over Canisius, and he hasn't missed a shot from the floor yet. 6 for 6 in this tournament.
Boy, they are really aggressive defensively. Mixing up the looks.
Williamson, a big 3 for Niagara.
Boy, does that help, huh? 31% from deep.
It hits at a higher percentage in the classroom. He's a 3.8 student at Niagara in marketing, a junior from Chicago, Illinois, Demetrius Williamson.
You would have sat next to him.
He said he's not the most famous product, though, of Whitney Young, because
I know who it is.
Michelle Obama went there.
Yeah.
Our first lady. I bet she was a good student, too.
That would be my guess. There's her brother, pretty good basketball coach.
Garrison the miss, but Bilal Ben in the right place. 1:10 to go in the half.
Nice pass.
And Camus Gordon the finish.
That's where they want him. Be around the rim to complete the deal. Nice look. A little pretty deep to make that look. I don't know how he got it there.
Well, Hasbrook's pass got through. It looked like Austin Cooley was well positioned to pick it off. It wound up instead as a foul. And it's charged to Garrison, and that is his third. How about what Duel has had to endure just to play here tonight? You know he's in pain. Achilles injury, knee injury, the back of the leg purple from knee to midfoot. But tonight when you got a shot at going back to the NCAA tournament, you suck it up and play.
And he's still making plays though. He's inhaling a little too. Let's add that to it. But a good feel for the game, understanding. And you were right. That was amazing when I saw that today. Achilles takes a long time to recover from. No question about it. Plus the size of him, I think, makes it even more difficult.
Rossiter, I know you're well aware of how quickly the years go by. Rossiter's dad wound up playing at Loyola of Maryland, Steve Sr., but he was recruited to Villanova by Mitch Bonaguro, who's now an assistant for son Ryan here at Siena.
Isn't that amazing? Of course, Mitch, longtime assistant to Rolly Massimino, played at BC. It is incredible how the years do evaporate.
These are two excellent coaches with great staffs. Mitch Bonaguro, Andrew Francis, Adam Chaskin on the bench next to Fran McCaffrey, Akbar Wahid, Luke Dobrich, and a familiar name, Phil Martelli Jr.
He had some great stuff. Right? Mom probably sees more games than his brothers and his dad.
Williamson for three. And Niagara wanted a timeout, and Joe Mahalik got it. With 22.4 to go. This is exactly what we expected between these two terrific teams in the MAAC championship. Sean McDonough, Bill Raftery back in Albany, New York. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, continuing with the MAAC championship.
Hey, this is outstanding ability to make deep shots, get themselves. Early I thought they jacked him, but look at the quick time. He still has some hops, huh? His dad taught me philosophy. I told that a few years ago. I didn't understand completely what he was saying, but I got a hook.
Joe Mahalik's dad was a professor at LaSalle.
And we did have a number of athletes from other schools in the city in Dan's class. The word got out. We may have been able to get a hook.
It was an athlete-friendly class?
Well, just for a C. I mean, the rest of the students got A's and B's.
Well, for a C for you was a dramatic improvement.
A C for me was Dean's list.
I heard you went to see your coach. You said, right now I'm working this semester on 4 F's and a D, and the coach said you're spending too much time on one subject.
Then I'm not anything to bank at you speak at. Pretty good half, Sean.
Indeed it was. Lewis with 10 points to lead Niagara. Rossiter and Franklin 7 apiece for Siena. 33 all at the half. Let's send you back now to the Cisco halftime report. Ryan and Mr. Happy Coach.
Giggly.
Bench for 10 minutes, and we're told from the scores table for a while there was confusion on the Siena bench. They thought Moore had 2 personals. He was over there a long time. Finally, Fran McCaffrey, late in the half, went back to the scores table and said, "Are you sure he only has 1 foul?" They said yes, and Moore came back into the game with 56 seconds left in the half. But they played half the half.
Without their star guard, their lead guard, the guy making plays. And also, I thought when one official went over there, Bob Adams, I thought he was explaining to Fran exactly what had transpired. But a little bit of confusion. You know, Niagara's got some legs. Can they sustain it? And can Siena start getting it inside, jamming it into their bigs?
Any Moore could have used that rest. He's the only Siena player who played more than 30 minutes last night. 37 against Fairfield. Niagara ball to open the second half.
A nice job by Rossiter sealing the baseline.
Bilal Ben. Yeah, he had a rough first half. He's now 1 for 9 from the floor. So we showed you the star watch. Kenny Hasbrook 1 for 10 playing on that injured calf. Suffered last night. Did not participate at all in their shoot around today. Sat out the last 17 minutes last night.
Nice inside screen to set this up. Oh, and that's what Moore can do. The little guy. You want to switch and put a point guard on the big fella? Well organized.
One thing Hasbrook does do is play point when Moore is injured. And there's the injury suffered last night. Just a seemingly harmless collision, but it wasn't harmless. That hurt a lot. Hasbrook left with 17 minutes to go against Fairfield, did not return. And it was a one-sided game, but Fran McCaffrey said even if it wasn't a one-sided game, he was not going to be able to come back last night.
And I didn't think he'd be able to perform to this level. I know he's not shooting well, but his mobility is certainly there.
And did a decent job running their offense during that stretch when Moore was on the bench with some confusion as to the number of fouls.
Hasbrook's hands, Sean.
Lewis a miss. And here's Alex Franklin the push. Now Moore off to Ubilis.
Well, Moore brings smiles to Siena.
They list Moore at 5'11", 160. We asked him this afternoon at the shoot around, how much do you really weigh? So right now about 155. He said he had it up to a robust 165 early in the season before you start to wear it down during the year. Tough to keep that weight on playing at that pace.
Nice defense here. Yeah, he's a slight little guy, but he's got speed, sees, and likes to give it up.
11 Niagara turnovers now. Moore shoves it out to Ubilis. And Egamonye the rebound. Niagara looking for its first points of the second half. Anthony Nelson is a reluctant shooter. Bilal Ben is not. Demetrius Williamson the rebound. And the quick three.
Wow. Joe put his arms up. I don't think he wanted that. Nice pass.
By Hasbrook. And Franklin the finish.
Well, Hasbrook, as mentioned, can do so many other things besides ring the bell. And Joe wants a set play. Get the shot he wants.
9 points now for Alex Franklin. He's the cousin of Donyell Marshall, the former Connecticut star and longtime NBA player.
Not a bad shot blocker in his day, was he? That UConn.
14 years now in the NBA. That time went by quickly, too.
Nice blow by, huh?
Tyrone Lewis, the junior, first team all-conference out of Levittown, Pennsylvania. And he was the star, you remember it, Bill, 2 years ago when Niagara beat Siena in the championship game in Bridgeport, Connecticut, 2007.
Run out on the deflection.
Williamson juggled it, but did not travel, and it's a tie game.
Yeah, there's some great memories in this tournament. We've been very fortunate, and we're very fortunate tonight. Jay was busy.
Yes. Jay Billis not with us tonight here in Albany.
He's home practicing his Billustrator right now.
Yeah, getting his ad-libs ready for the Big East tournament. Friendly bounce for Ronald Moore. Marketing major at Siena.
Oh, what a tough play. Lewis thought he was giving it to him.
And Ben was the last to touch. Take a look at our Guinness first half stats. Anytime you're looking at anything associated with Guinness, Bill is happy.
That's the first time I smiled all night.
Rossiter, good hands by Ben. He's second in the conference in steals. Lewis is number one. Lewis's shot was deflected on the run by. Joe Mahalik thought Lewis might have been fouled and says so to John Hughes.
Lewis and Ben are terrific. 2+ steals a game. He got 5 out of 2 guys. That's amazing.
Williamson, ordinarily their sixth man, started the second half because Rob Garrison does have the 3 fouls.
Oh, not a good one there by Moore. Just relaxed a little bit.
And let's reiterate the number of fouls on Moore. That is his second. Clearly announced here in the arena.
Elucidate for us. That was a crazy little situation. That's one of those I think you got to let the guy have full control of the ball. Obviously, the problems after in dialogue were difficult.
Well, you can quibble with the call, although it was the letter of the law. I mean, based on the way the rule is,
what are you going to do?
It was enforced. But you can't blame the officials for the lack of communication. And John Hughes said at the bench, Class B, not a personal, not a team foul. There was not an announcement that we ever heard over the PA system. But clearly the bench can go over and check at any time. How many fouls did he have?
And the refs did go talk to Fran, and maybe he just assumed the technical, it's a personal.
Right, which is understandable because usually it is. Williamson the miss. Rossiter the rebound.
Wow, what a catch after that tough pass. Oh, my goodness. Well, you don't catch with your legs. You get in position with them. Terrific look by Moore, even though behind.
2 for 11 for Hasbrook. That's actually an improvement over the last time they played Niagara when they lost up at Niagara Falls 11 days ago. Hasbrook was 2 for 20 from the floor. In a 100-85 Niagara win. Nelson lays it in.
And Moore backed off, too. Where are you going?
Into the lane to turn it over. Williamson trying to tie it. Franklin hustles back and fouls him. And he'll make Williamson earn it at the line, but that is the third personal foul on Alex Franklin.
And even the good ones make mistakes. How about drive, draw, find? A little kiss at the end by Hasbrook. Siena playing solid right now.
Congratulations to Mark Pugh, another West Coast championship. Here it's the MAAC championship. Siena and Niagara on the left of your screen. Dolores Mahalik, the 84-year-old mother of Coach Joe Mahalik. And on the right of your screen, Matt Mahalik, Dolores' son, Joe's younger brother. They are a couple of years apart. Those of you who watch this game over the years know that Mrs. Mahalik for many years now has been courageously battling colon cancer. Back in 2005 when Niagara won the MAAC championship in Buffalo to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 35 years. They weren't even sure Mrs. Mahalik was going to make it to the NCAA tournament. She said back then, all I want to do is see Joe coach one game of the tournament. And here she is 4 years later. God love her.
Unbelievable. A lot of prayers, great courage, and a great family, too. Joe's a special guy. He loves to have his mom around. The Philly connection.
They're longtime friends of the McCaffreys. Joe Mahalik, Fran, and Matt were all at LaSalle High School at the same time. When Joe Mahalik was a senior, Fran McCaffrey was a freshman at LaSalle High School, and Matt was a sophomore. Matt and Fran later in their careers wound up as the starting backcourt together at LaSalle, and Joe Mahalik says, my brother and Fran were the best backcourt ever at LaSalle High School in Philly. Two terrific players. Matter of fact, it was Dolores a couple of years ago who told us that Matt Mahalik was the first 1,000-point scorer at LaSalle High School since Tom Gola.
Didn't you sign her up for research after that, if I'm not mistaken? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, remember she said she was mad because the girlfriend got the 1,000-point ball and not Mrs. Mahalik.
And they broke up? Well, you know, it's interesting. LaSalle had so much talent that a lot of guys didn't play all 3 years. Forget 4. They always had a freshman team. So the Obie O'Brien going way back was a famous high school coach. And of course, Joe, just a lot of juice, loves what he's doing, loves where he's at. And both of these guys, special people and coaches.
Anthony Nelson, the missed free throws. And then they could not capitalize even when they got the ball back. Siena in a big hurry again. The ball rescued by Rossiter, and he's fouled. Both Egamonye and Ben were there.
How about you two big guys in the middle of the break? Rossiter in the lane. That is solid.
Ben called for his first foul. We mentioned the families know each other, Bill. Mrs. Mahalik, Dolores, and Fran's mom, the late Shirley McCaffrey, used to sit together at the high school games, as you might expect. Hasbrook a 3. And a couple of years ago, Shirley McCaffrey got diagnosed with cancer. One of the first to call her, Dolores Mahalik, told her, here's what you'd expect. Dolores changed her chemotherapy schedule to go with Shirley in Philadelphia, and she really helped support Shirley. Unfortunately, Shirley lost her battle with cancer a year and a half ago. These are two families that know each other very well, competing today for a trip to the big dance. Egamonye fouled, and a chance to tie it at the free throw line.
So much for that injury he sustained in that first half. They need his power around the rim. They need good shot selection. And more importantly, I think defensively they better step up. Get themselves back. Don't get into woo-woo kind of a game. A little stroke deep, soft enough to be followed. And guys do a great job putting the arms up, making it a tough call for an official, don't they? Look at this. Now, the hands just reached down a little bit. A little kick and step.
So Egamonye at the line. He's an improved free throw shooter this year, 69%. Well, they struggled late in that game last night against Ryder. Last night against Ryder, they shot 44 free throws in the game. Tonight, they had 2 free throw attempts in the first half.
Sean, that was beautiful right there. But your point on the free throws, that's an incredible difference. Great drive and kick. They're good at finding people. Very unselfish.
Rossiter the finish. Then Lewis, trouble in traffic. Moore the held ball. Joe Mahalik was trying to get a timeout called, but they didn't have the ball in their possession. On the alternating possession, the arrow points in favor of Siena.
Now, the ability to get to the lane and make decisions, so important for anybody. Siena, the bigs have been doing it as well as the little guys.
"14 Niagara turnovers. 4 turnovers in this half for Siena. They're 6 out of 7 shooting this half, but the 4 turnovers helping Niagara stay close.
Nice job defensively on that high ball screen for 2.
Moore unselfishly off the Ubilis, blocked by Egamonye. And the throw ahead to Garrison, and it pops in.
A nice job getting back by Rossiter, but better control of the body.
9 for Garrison, the transfer from the University of Connecticut. Back now in his hometown. Grew up in Niagara Falls. Been at a great high school team with Paul Harris and Johnny Flynn, now at Syracuse.
You get the feeling here, Sean? Nobody's going away.
Yeah, this one could be another typical MAAC buzzer job. Dool had great position and missed the shorty. Look out, that's an elbow by Egamonye. But did they get Dool on the reach-in instead?
They must have had it first, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, they have the foul on Dool. And Egamonye is lucky to get away with that.
Now this could be a dead ball situation. Foul. Play continues.
Well, John Hughes has gone to the monitor.
This could be a dead ball flagrant.
The original foul has been called on Dool. Now they'll look to see if they've got something to call on Egamonye. That might have been a flop.
I think it's got to be simultaneous, though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you? Same kind of a...
Ladies and gentlemen, this evening's attendance.
Because the officials have the right to go over there and make sure check on...
I don't think he hit Rossiter. Well, this might be a better look at it.
Well, he probably can't go 3 rounds, Rossiter, huh?
Does he hit him? This would be the good angle if it's still...
Nah, not really.
Yeah,
I mean, he may have got him in the chest at best.
Yeah, that looked like a Hollywood job to me.
Well, if anybody knows Hollywood, it's you.
And then again, I didn't have a 6'10" guy elbow me in the chest. It's easy for me to say.
Nor who would want it. Egamonye is a big factor for this team, though. His presence on both ends of the floor. I think just keep playing. Just keep playing. Now, Jay would love that. You know that.
Yes.
Jay likes, he walks into a lounge and knocks 4 people off chairs.
And then picks you up. So they looked at the replays for a while, and now the officials conferring. John Hughes, Paul Thea was in the middle, and Bob Adams. I think all they're going to call is 12 white, and that's it.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
Don't you? Good piece of officiating. Let's see. This one will show you if there's any contact. No. Maybe a little chest. Give him a break.
I mean, he flopped back after the elbow was already going the other way.
Well, wouldn't you?
Like delayed reaction.
See, now that's a good student.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've had a lot of stuff hitting the news lately. Shaq's flop against Dwight Howard, and Stan Van Gundy bringing that up, accusing the Shaqmeister.
Shaq's been a little mean-spirited lately. He called Chris Bosh the RuPaul of the NBA, and then he took off after Stan Van Gundy. I mean, I like the nice, friendly, lovable Shaq.
Well, you two would get along great.
Tyrone Lewis, the miss.
Irascible on occasion. Nice pass. Wow.
Whoa, Franklin missed the shorty after the great setup from Moore, and now Rossiter needs to be careful. He's hacking away there.
Well, some guys like to put the heat out. That's what he was doing, too. Don't let the fast break start.
Whoa. Garrison started to throw it to Lewis on the wing, and he was turned around talking to Joe Mahalik. Under 12 to go. The winner to the NCAA tournament is the Metro Atlantic champion.
Oh goodness. Boy. And over the head pass to the wing like that. Williamson's got to be careful.
from Williamson to Lewis. The 15th turnover for Niagara, and yet they're still down by just one. All right, Ryan, thank you. Welcome, everybody, back to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. The MAAC Championship, and a good one, Siena by 1 over Niagara. Championship Week continues Wednesday. We'll be in New York City for second-round action of the Big East Championship. West Virginia, the 7 seed, will get the winner of the game to be played tomorrow between Rutgers and Notre Dame. And then Syracuse, ranked 20th in the country this week, will play either South Florida or Seton Hall. With the expansion of the Big East Championship, all 16 teams in the conference make the trip down to New York. South Florida will be there for the first time.
Pretty good week in the city. I got to watch over you.
Yes.
Dote over you. Make sure you get home early.
Carefully, please.
And you're out at night. I like you. You're usually in bed by 8 or 9.
Ronald Moore is passed behind Rossiter, and now the turnovers are starting to pile up for Siena as well. That's their 9th.
And Moore's had 2 tough ones the last couple of trips. Got an earful earlier, over-penetrated, led to a fast break.
Fran McCaffrey was about as agitated as we've ever seen him. After Moore's turnover. 5 of those 9 turnovers for Siena have been here in the second half.
Everybody's staying at home. Automatic switching.
5 to shoot. Rare time tonight. The shot clock is an issue. 2 to shoot. Lewis didn't get the bounce. And a nice rebound in traffic by Rossiter, the sophomore from Staten Island, New York.
Boy, he works hard on that defensive end. Helped out, still got back to seal it.
Franklin had a collision and a no call with Hegemonye, and it's a 3-point lead as we near 10.5 to go. 11 points for Alex Franklin.
Now, you made a statement earlier. Both these teams, if they get in the tournament, how tough it will be to play. Niagara has an unnatural way of mixing and matching smaller guys, and Siena has some tough guys up front, take you on the bounce, some good size as well.
I think Siena has a great chance to be in the NCAA tournament, even if they don't win tonight. They've had an RPI in the 20s of late. Williamson a 3, and you could start to make a case for Niagara as well as a bubble team. Their RPI was 51 starting today. They've won 12 of their last 13 games. In the bracket buster, they've just annihilated Illinois State, a team that handled Creighton the other night in the Missouri Valley, and everybody's talking about Creighton as a bubble team.
And 15 away games, meaning some neutral sites as well. Able to be successful, so they're competed. Nice look.
By Ben, but they could not convert, and now bodies hit the floor.
This is usually when you get an open look, a little bit late.
Shot clock at 8.
They know. I guess he does.
Garrison, the long launch. Another offensive rebound, but Ben couldn't finish. Ben's had plenty of rebounds, but hasn't been able to capitalize with putbacks.
And that's the job that Moore's got to do. Pry, get it out, get some touches, particularly to the bigs. They run a nice little screen and slip.
Ben has 11 rebounds, but he's 1 for 11 from the floor. 2-point lead, Siena. Under 9 minutes to go, and this should tie it. Lewis.
And that's all about scouting. Terrific read. They knew exactly the play. And Ublis was a little lazy, lackadaisical, not stepping to the ball and holding his guy off. Whew. Very impressive. The step in, the run out. How about this, Sean? Some hops as well. Steals it, fills it, whatever you need.
2 teams in the MAAC. Rubber game of a 3-game series now between them this season. With a trip to the big dance on the line, and it's Niagara and Siena tied at 58-47 to go. We talk about how you haven't heard a lot about Niagara as a bubble team, but why not? And obviously the RPI is only one tool that's used, and you wonder in this day and age how much they use it.
How about that one, Sean? You were up there.
Yeah, they were very impressive. Beat Illinois State by 14, and were in control of that game for a lot of it. And their RPI is better than Arizona, Virginia Tech, Maryland, Providence, Rhode Island. You know, a lot of the teams that we're hearing a lot about Their RPI is significantly better. 26 wins, 15 road or neutral wins, most in the country. Hasbrook at 2.
Nice little response, huh? You know, for notable losses, I could have made a lot of NCAAs.
Yes.
Huh?
A lot of guys made the tournament thanks to you.
Nice little preparation off the timeout. Fran, these guys getting a good look. Hasbrook just reaching back a little. You know, the kid was hurt. And we saw Lawson play injured. And you think of it. And Fields on Saturday. So this time of year, everybody just sucks it up.
It was great to hear Joe Mahalik say today, too, you know, I hope Hasbrook plays. We want to play them at their best, and he's a terrific young man. Williamson missed out of the corner. Matter of fact, Fran McCaffrey was very emotional last night when I talked to him about Hasbrook. There are the rebounding numbers, plus 14 tonight for Niagara. The rebounding was the story in the 2 regular season games. Fran said it would be again tonight. The team that won each of the regular season meetings was the team that had the rebound edge. Ubilis the miss.
What a play by Rossiter. Wow!
And Hasbrook the floater. Set up by the tremendous hustle by Rossiter.
That's in his oh, down the other end. Referees are going to have to stop that. Like Monnier and Rossiter whacked one another. That was incredible. Giving it all.
Lewis throws up an air ball and right through the hands of Egamonye.
Joe wants a call. Joe's upset out on the floor.
And being warned to go back. Meanwhile, most of the fans here on Siena's home arena on their feet, saluting the great effort by Rossiter that led to a big bucket.
That's what it's all about right now, Sean. Efforts like this keep you playing in the NCAA.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And in part by Infinity, luxury cars that inspire at every turn.
Sean McDonough, Bill Raftery back at the MAAC Championship, part of Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Siena leads by 4. We started to talk a moment ago, Bill, about Kenny Hasbrook, the MAAC Player of the Year. And he has had a tremendous second half after 1 for 10 first half, 4 for 4 here in the second half and distributing as well.
And what he does is a incredible arsenal of deliveries. That floater, the ability to step outside, sticks threes, and a toughness. Wow. Hurt? No, sir, at this time of year.
He's who's been heating up, brought to you by DiGiorno. We talked about him winning that award last night. Fran McCaffrey said, as we mentioned earlier, I'm the coach of the year because he was the player of the year. And they have an excellent cast around him. But Fran was emotional, said, you know, he was our first recruit here. And he's a terrific young man. When Siena started recruiting him out of Maine Central Institute, he had never even heard of Siena. He thought it was a Division II school, and he started to look into it. He told his friends, I'm going to go and visit it, but there's no way I'm going to go there. I mean, I never even heard of Siena. And here he is now, one of the great players in school history, Conference Player of the Year. And what moved me when I heard the story last night, Bill, Fran McCaffrey got choked up. He said when he came on the visit, we came into the building, the first thing he asked me is, where is the handicap seating? Because his dad, Jeffrey, who's his biggest fan, disabled veteran, battling now multiple sclerosis, comes to every game, and the first thing Kenny wanted to know is, where will my dad be able to sit?
How good is that?
To watch me play.
No better arena than this one to enjoy your son playing.
There's Jeffrey Hasbrook.
Everybody's a coach, right, Sean?
Oh, boy. And what a beautiful story about the Hasbrooks in the New York Times today, if you have a chance to read it. A wonderful article by Pete Thamel talking about how the Hasbrooks make the drive up here 6 hours from the Baltimore area in a handicap-accessible van. They took that van down to Tampa for the NCAA tournament. They drive it all over the place to watch Siena play with mom, Deborah, the primary caregiver to her husband. They know everybody in the building, the ushers, the parking lot people. They even had great things to say in the newspaper today about the radio announcer on the rare occasions they can't get to the game. They listen to the general, Robert Lee, the voice of Siena. Nice people, and boy, what an experience they've had watching their son play here for 4 years.
You think they'll have nice things to say about you after they get this tape? It is a beautiful story, no question about it. And the wholesomeness of it and the entire family being part of it is incredible.
Ubilis, the miss. He's had a quiet night as well. 3 for 11 from the floor now for 7 points.
Every rebound now. Both clubs got to attack, have that mindset that it's theirs.
Hasbrook.
Woo! Nyla!
Hasbrook the steal again. Off to Moore. Rossiter in the right place again.
Good goal.
Largest lead for Siena and a timeout called by Niagara. An 8-point game. 6:02 to go.
Showing the bigs running the floor. We talked about Rossiter's contribution. It's all about effort. And that gets you going in the NCAA.
Siena with an 8-point lead, trying to make it back-to-back MAAC tournament championships.
And Sean, right now, this was very effective in the first half. This 1-1, 2-1. You coughed it up. You got to be careful if you're Niagara. Now, this is a big trip for them.
Turned it over 16 times tonight. Even with that big rebounding edge, they're down by 8.
Nice hands and a giveaway.
Egamonye lost it and then fouled Ubilis, and that's 4 on Benson. Egamonye is already graduated last May with a degree in marketing, working on his MBA.
And you just see the changing defenses have had their impact on Niagara. Different looks, different rakes. Look at the hand from the top side now. Back of that zone. Ubilis took a little shot as well.
And this would be where you would start to wonder about fatigue for Niagara. Taxed in double overtime last night. 4 starters played over 44 minutes.
Oh.
Rossiter to the bucket.
That's something that they did early in the game. Not a good play here. They're just a little bit rattled. And sometimes the head goes first when you're tired. This is when you say to kids, look, we want to do a job right now. Let's have some impact on the game. Put our fingerprints on it. Let them know we're not going to let them back in it. And he did.
Hasbrook doing his Willis Reed impression here tonight. Oh, and counts a basket at the other end for Tyrone Lewis.
Now, if I said Dave DeBuscher, it would have been wrong, but you could say Willis Reed.
Willis Reed.
It did fit, though. It absolutely was appropriate.
Yeah, they didn't know up until game time if he'd be able to play, and did not participate at all. He had treatment all last night, all day today. The training staff deserves a lot of credit because Hasbrook was in a lot of pain. Greg Dashnall spent a lot of time last night and today with Kenny Hasbrook.
It will be sore tomorrow, but I assure you, it will be forgotten quickly.
Under 5 minutes to go. 9-point lead for Siena.
Well, they really are an intelligent team. Make good decisions. How about this guy now? Forget about it.
Might be time to have somebody on his own team kick him in the other calf. The way he's playing on one leg. 16 points in the second half for Hasbrook. Almost single-handedly in his last home game, leading them back to the NCAA tournament.
And Moore, chastised at a timeout, has been flawless running the show. And this guy's been exceptional. Step back. A little nylon. Tough to cover. Quick bounce. Drag that guy back. And he is out right now.
Hasbrook, Fran's first recruit. Of course, Fran took over a program that had lost 24 games, the school record, the year before he got here. He's 83 and 40 years in the 4 years and getting closer to going to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. Eubulus knocks one home.
They are a good team. Sound. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do.
They won a game in the NCAA tournament last year. Egamonye the score. Fran McCaffrey thinks this team is better than last year's team that beat Vanderbilt and then lost to Villanova in the second round down in Tampa.
How many teams you see all year push it like that and make the right decision? So, guys just don't have a feel. These kids have pride. Another floater. He loves that shot.
And it's Rossiter. 15 points for Ryan Rossiter. And a double-double for him. And Ben, who's had a miserable shooting night, makes a three. Now 2 out of 12 from the floor. That's his first three of the night. Just 6 points for Bilal Ben. Makes it a 10-point game. As we saw last night, it isn't over by a long shot. It was a long shot that kept Niagara alive last night. Tuesday night, ESPN Championship Week. 2 more conference championship games. First for the Big East women. Louisville, the winner tonight against Pittsburgh, will take on undefeated #1 Connecticut in the Big East Women's Championship at 9 Eastern. The men's side, the Horizon League final. Cleveland State and Butler. Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Butler won both the regular season meetings with Cleveland State, but both were very close.
Gary Waters done a great job there, too. For his former Rutgers coach. You had mentioned before the promo, Joe's guys won't go away easily. I mean, Ben struggled, knocks the shot down. I just don't know if they have the energy. Look at this, just the blow by here. And look who's in the middle of the pack. Rossiter.
Oh, Franklin the flush.
Look at these kids. Attack the glass. Showing too many bodies at the rim.
And again, Bill, you think it might be because of fatigue, because most of the night Niagara had the big rebounding edge, and now it's as if they can't get in position and can't get off the floor to rebound.
Just wears it down. The dribble drive, drags some people. Not Rossiter. How about Franklin? Benjamin.
3 minutes to go. Fran McCaffrey and the Siena Saints with a 12-point lead for a raucous crowd of over 9,700 here. Of course, they draw well in this building with this tournament, but it is definitely a home court advantage for Siena, trying to win the title on their home court for the second year in a row, and only 20 years in the league. 7th time they've been in the final. They've been the best team with Niagara in this league for the last 10 years or so.
Unbelievable. And you think of it, I thought it was Digger Phelps doing all the coaching down there. We got Jeff Nix, right?
At Notre Dame.
Back McCullough, and of course Fran McCaffrey. No wonder he won some games.
Fran McCaffrey, 11 years an assistant at Notre Dame under Digger Phelps and John McLeod.
I think he won more than games down there. Didn't he win his bride? Fran, yeah.
5-second count. Moore closely guarded by Anthony Nelson.
Fran's done a great job no matter where. Continues.
He was the head coach at Lehigh at 26 years old. Garrison the bucket for Niagara to get them back within 10.
Now you want clock now. Unless they give you one, very easy. Or easily.
That was not a great free throw shooting team. Franklin fouled on the drive. You mentioned Fran McCaffrey met his wife Margaret at Notre Dame. He was a great player at Notre Dame. So Muffet McGraw and Fran and Muffet. There's Margaret, mother of their 4 children.
Connor, Patrick, Jonathan, and Merritt. Well, she's enjoying it.
Yeah, the youngest is nicknamed Jack in memory of Fran's dad, in honor of Fran's dad. Margaret was over 1,000-point scorer at Notre Dame. Still among the all-time leading rebounders there. Coached for a while. She was an assistant with Muffet McGraw at Notre Dame when Fran was there as a men's assistant. And when they got engaged, they went over to Muffet McGraw's house. She was the first person they told. They were a great house. Muffet was at Lehigh as the women's coach when Fran was at Lehigh. So a lot of history there with Muffet McGraw and the McCaffers.
Moore with the hands. A lot of history there.
Bilal Ben, desperation heave. Williamson blocked by Rossiter. Nelson fouled.
Boy, Rossiter's been a big time factor. Let me tell you. And now they got to, don't ruin it, guys. Come on.
3 blocks for Ryan Rossiter, and now the foul is called on him, and that's also Ryan's third.
And Fran just pointing at his head. Come on, guys. We got control. Don't you lose control.
Anthony Nelson goes to the line. Both these teams are going to be good next year. Hasbrook, the only senior starter for Siena. And Francis, he has 3 terrific recruits coming in. And Egamonye, the only senior starter for Niagara.
The level, too. When you say you've got good recruits, it means that they're going to come in and be factors. Well, Joe's not going away. Joe knows how to get it done. And he knows a lot of people that get kids that are potentially better. They're going to improve.
Top of the hour, some of you tuning in for Who's Number One. Greatest NCAA buzzer beaters coming up next. Great hustle by Ben. The run back and slap it away from Franklin. His team down by 9, a minute and a half to go. Siena has shot 58%, pardon me, Bill, here in the second half.
Terrific recovery. Ben didn't give up on it. Cross screen. Now they got the timeout now.
Moore couldn't get it in. He's the brother Chuck Moore, played at Vanderbilt.
Seton Hall before.
Yeah.
Tommy Amaker left.
Chuck was playing overseas for a while, but is not playing anymore. Their cousins John Salmon's in the NBA. Good, pretty good. He said he learned how to play as a little kid, and he was a lot littler than Chuck and John Salmon's. And they taught him how to be tough.
They didn't teach him
pickup games.
They teach him how to be quick. I think that came naturally.
Unless it turns around, Niagara will be a bubble team at 26-8. And Joe Mahalik was realistic. He doesn't think as a mid-major team with this resume that they'll get in, but he certainly thinks they ought to be much more in the conversation than they have been, and I agree with him.
Don't you think guys like Joe, they're going to start playing teams if they'll play them, no matter where it is? Obviously, strength of schedule, you steal one of the 4 or 5. It's got to impress a committee, and I think that's what the NCAA has done with their basketball committee of late. You see better matchups, the bracket buster, terrific. You were well received up in Niagara, weren't you?
Oh, what a great atmosphere up there. Taps Gallagher Center, tiny little gym, just over 2,000 seats.
And Taps was one of the great coaches too, Sean. He was up there my last year, renowned. They had great programs.
Won 465 games up there at Niagara. Taps Gallagher. Niagara going to battle all the way to the end. Minute to go, down by 9, and free throws coming.
And why foul? I mean, give him the deuce and get the ball out of bounds.
And the only coach who's won more than Joe Mahalik at Niagara is Taps Gallagher. Joe won 205 games in 11 years, and he took over a program that wasn't really thriving at the time.
Well, Frank Lane did a great job, too, but he ended up going to the NBA.
That was a long time ago. As I find myself
saying
to over and over again.
Oh, no, I agree, but late 60s, early 70s to me isn't late.
No.
You know?
It was yesterday, as far as you're concerned.
And you had Calvin Murphy in the arena when you were up there, right?
The bracket buster game. One of the all-time great players in college history. Scored 52 one night at LaSalle against the Palestra. You were gone by then. Or were you? 1967.
My defense was gone. Way before that. Calvin had some stop-and-go move at the dribble at you, ankle breaker.
Hubie Brown played at Niagara in the 50s.
Sure. Larry Costello.
You surprised they're not fouling?
I am.
Foul. You have to foul.
The bench is asking. They're going to, well.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All kinds of time
13
off the clock.
seconds, yeah.
I'm surprised you don't hear this man's name more for other coaching opportunities with the tremendous success that he's had. They hadn't been in the tournament in 35 years.
Do you
think he got there.
Do you think people feel he's comfortable kind of
Like perhaps, I think he's like any of us, no matter your profession. You'd always listen. He loves Niagara. He has said, I could be happy retiring there, but he's just 52 years old.
He's not a self-promoter.
No, that's probably part of his problem. One of the reasons the names don't come up.
Neither guy.
No.
You know, they just do their job, which is what we both enjoy.
And both very happy where they are. They're great schools. They have a passion for basketball, as we've seen here tonight. And both represent what their institutions stand for exceptionally well. Classy guys.
Absolutely.
This is a good league.
It is. It used to be a cradle of coaching. Well, it still is. A lot of guys have moved on to better jobs. Timmy Welsh comes to mind. Gonzo.
If Siena, you say better jobs. Better paying, perhaps.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the past.
Sometimes they leave the league to go to places where it's harder to win.
Well, you're right.
And that's probably the cautionary tale for both of these coaches. They're at places where they know
they can get it done.
They can get it done. Sometimes you go for the quote-unquote bigger job at a place where it's harder to win, and you wind up throttling your own career.
Expectations sometimes are far greater than reality.
Rossiter, 7-point game, 41.5 to go.
And Tom Brennan's guy Duel is in for the last moments here.
You would not be at all surprised if Siena went back in the NCAA tournament and won a game or two again.
No,
this year,
not at all.
No.
Not at all. You know, the last few years, I felt anytime they were in, they had a chance. I go way back to that Stanford win. Mark Brown, little guard, just a great run. Bill Kurz was a coach here years and years ago. I mean, they've had a good tradition.
Yes, they have. 16 points, 14 rebounds for Rossiter. Lewis to the bucket. He's fouled. Speaking of great history, 2002 MAAC championship game. Siena victorious by 15 over Niagara.
We've had some wild ones in this building, haven't we?
We sure have. Well, this tournament this year was originally scheduled to be in Trenton, and there were some issues with the arena and the conference. They brought it back here to Albany.
Such a great basketball area. They're trying to get everybody back. Just finished. You got no shot.
Yeah.
You got no shot. You know, it's not going to happen. You got 36 seconds.
Yeah, the officials are asking the students. The students have actually been down there since about 3.5 minutes remain. And they're not right on the baseline. They're back where the photographers ordinarily would stand.
And Rich Enser coming down saying, let's just get this to conclusion.
Well, it's not over yet, friends. A 6-point game with 36.2 to go.
No question.
We saw this last night. Ryder in the first overtime was down by 6 with under a minute to go and rallied to force a second overtime.
Well, right now, Jumhawk's forcing the home run try. They're not protecting the back. That's what speed does for you.
They throw it into Moore, and he's fouled by Williamson. Moore is a 65% free throw shooter. A lot of mediocre free throw shooters among their nucleus. Moore 65, Hasbrook 67, Ubelis 63.5, Franklin 62. So there are some options if Joe Mahalik is looking to foul. He doesn't have to be too picky.
What do they shoot coming down the stretch? And this kid's got a little bit of ice. I don't think I'd like to be one of the guards on the baseline, trying to control this crowd.
No.
I think I would do the Olay move.
You have plenty of experience with that. First
in many areas.
Yes, 2 free throws of the night made by Moore. Timeout. Siena called the timeout. Manhattan, the last MAAC team to go back-to-back conference championships 5 years ago.
Yeah, both guys have that fire, and yet they're strategically minded when they get the kids together. Have you noticed that? I watched a few of the games coming in here. You just see they coach, they cajole.
They both have a great way of dealing with people, whether it's their players, their assistants, the community. And that's why both of these coaches are much loved within their communities.
Maybe they won't be busy in the summer. You could take a trip up and pick some things up.
Never too late to turn over a new leaf. This game was tied at 50 with under 9 minutes to go. And then a 13-1 run to open the game up. And now Niagara trying to scratch back in, down by 8, 35 seconds to go. 49-year-old Fran McCaffrey.
Look at them playing the three-point line.
Yeah, they sure are. It's quiet here. The anticipation of the final seconds from these fans. Ben missed a three.
Well, kick it out.
Out to Lewis. Another three. 19 seconds to go. 5-point game. Timeout. Niagara.
Don't you love it? Anytime there's that miss, the kick out's available. Great recognition. And again, the tickers on both sides. This is really terrific. Never a disappointment in this conference. Short and right away. What a heady play. Step back, find your partner, and then nylon. That is great basketball. Quick timeout, get them organized.
22 points for Tyrone Lewis, great team leader. Really the face of the program, says Joe Mahalik. And used to being a leadership type. He was the senior class president at Harry Truman High School back in Levittown, Pennsylvania. Joe Mahalik, what's the strategy he'll be imparting?
Well, right now I think they're going to do that face guarding, which they've done so well, and force the gamble deep. He's shaking his head. It's interesting. Play the ball is one theory, the inbounder. Another is play off and be the free safety, and the forward cross face guard. I think the key is what they do with the inbound guy. Right now I think I take away vision and really flatten out and make them throw the deep one. It's got to be a perfect baseball pass. It's got to be catchable. You've got to catch it, not walk, catch it, not turn over.
The winner of this one will be the 8th team to earn the trip to the NCAA tournament through conference play. Of course, in the Ivy League, they don't have a tournament. 5-point game. You know, talked about the long relationship between these two coaches, the similarities. Fran McCaffrey got a chance to be head coach at 26. Joe Mahalik was an assistant for 17 years at LaSalle before he ever got a shot. Interviewed for a lot of jobs. Wasn't sure he'd ever get one. He said, I would have gone to Russia to be a head coach.
And they do exactly face guard and a quick giveaway. Put the pressure.
Yep.
Stretch the game.
And Hasbrook really was the key component of that run here in the second half. After an awful first half, 1 out of 10. He's had 16 points in the second half. First recruit for Fran McCaffrey, the conference player of the year, the only senior starter.
Well, you mentioned 67. Not a bad number, but coming down the stretch is when you need it. Little smile there.
Siena now 10 for 20 from the line. It could have been easier for them tonight had they fared better from the stripes. 15 seconds to go. Garrison has to shoot the three. Moore the rebound, and they come to foul him. Both Williamson and Ben were there. And now the reality is really setting in among the Siena partisans here in downtown Albany.
And I just saw Joe Mahalik sort of put his hands up over his head. You mentioned reality. This is the toughest time. And you know there's not much more you can do.
Well, if mid-majors are getting in this year, his team shouldn't be very far down that list. When they talk about Creighton and some of the others.
Now, did you notice this year there wasn't as much publicity about mid-major? You know, it wasn't the influence or the exertion, whether it's newspaper or internet or even on the air.
Moore trying to make it a 7-point game. Does. Siena about to go dancing for the 5th time in school history and in back-to-back years.
Dribble, slap back, tough shot.
Ben, the miss. Moore, the rebound, and the celebration begins in Albany. Fran McCaffrey over to see his longtime friend Joe Mahalik. And Siena, school of only 3,000 students in Loudonville, New York, just 10 minutes away from this building. Back-to-back MAAC championships.
That's what the madness is all about. They were geared up for the last 10 minutes. He looks unruffled, Sean, doesn't he?
He's a pretty composed human being.
Yeah, he is. Cool hand, Luke.
Didn't learn that one from Digger.
Oh, no, Digger would have been up on our table here.
Digger be back doing his dance that winds up on YouTube for the second time in a couple weeks.
He would have lined some kids up to put them on their shoulders.
So, excellent effort by Niagara. Looked like they were dead and buried last night. In the semifinals, they got the miracle shot to keep their dream alive. And now they'll hope for the unlikely selection to go in the NCAA tournament. Perhaps the NIT is where they'll wind up.
As usual, great little visit to the capital city.
Terrific ball game. The final score, Siena 77 and Niagara 70. Coming up next on ESPN2. Who's number one? Greatest NCAA tournament buzzer beaters. For more in this game, turn to ESPN News for post-game extra. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Bill Raftery, Sean McDonough saying good night from Albany, New York.